Oh, we're live. Okay, excellent. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Squeaks in the Deep. This is going to be a short little adventure showcasing some of the previously or currently unreleased material from the Squeaks in the Deep Companion, which was the stretch goal book we got from our amazing Squeaks in the Deep Kickstarter. So since this is a pretty short game, we're going to dive in pretty quick. But before I start, my name is Eddy Webb. My pronouns are he, him. I am one of the in-house developers at Onyx Path Publishing and the executive producer at Onyx Path Publishing. And I am also the creator and owner of Realms of Pugmire and Monarchies of Mouse. So this is my glorious little weird mutant baby that we are playing today. So if you all can introduce yourselves and then talk about your character a little bit, we'll start with Will.
All right. I am Will. I am a human person who exists probably. I am currently playing Eris von Agora. Agori?
Agora.
Agora. Agora. Got it right the first time. All right. Wonderful. Nothing suspicious about me at all. I am, as one would expect, a member of my family. Not at all. Not a member of my family. Do not question this. Yeah, I don't exist otherwise.
Excellent. Haley?
Hi everyone, I'm Haley, also known as Beyblade666 on the internet. You can find me on Instagram. I'm playing Starla von Forst this game, and she's just a feisty kind of ranger type person. Cat.
Cats are people too. It's fine. And Jamie?
I'm Jamie. I'm playing Kashyk Blue von Siberian, who footpad extraordinaire, flashy, strikingly handsome, and always willing to get into fun time. Very easy going.
Excellent. These three cats are all members of the Monarchies of Mao. Very short histories that this game is set far in the future of our world. So it's Earth, but humanity has come and gone, leaving only cats behind. At some point in time, they were uplifted so that they can use speech and tools and the like. So they now populate the world. They're trying to rediscover it. The cats have lived for a long time in 6 different kind of city-states called monarchies. In the recent past, they have joined together as a kind of union. They're not a full, complete nation, but they have started to recognize each other's sovereignty and tried to work together after a pretty rough war with the dogs in the past. So the 3 of you are part of a group who basically are troubleshooters. You work on behalf of the different monarchies as kind of a joint task force that each members of the monarchies give up various peoples to kind of work to kind of showcase the spirit of the new unity of the monarchies. And if you happen to get your family's interests in ahead of everybody else, that would be great, but we don't talk about that publicly, of course. You have worked together on a couple of adventures in the past. You do find that you work well together, but as cats tend to do, you have your own perhaps personal goals, and you have to show how excellent you are, which sometimes means you may have to occasionally show how excellent you are in contrast to your companions. So how you dial that in respectively is up to each of you. Recently, there have been rumors of some disturbances in the monarchy of Korat. Korat is the westernmost monarchy. It is set up next to a large, dense forest known as the Fearful Forest. And it is a forest, has earned its name pretty well. People generally don't go through the forest unless they have a strong need to. And on the other side of the forest is where the dog kingdom of Pugmire exists. But the kingdom, or sorry, the monarchy of Korat are generally hardier cats, a lot of warriors, a lot of military personnel. So they have no problems living in this next to this dangerous forest. And for generations, they've actually used a small underground area for their training. They actually send young cats who are ready to make their mark in the world. Their final test is to go into the underground and survive for a period of days to show how well they can take care of themselves. It's the kind of, here's your armor, here's your sword, here's some food, come back in 5 days when your rations are gone. Same situation. Recent recruits have not been coming back. And there have been rumors that there's some kind of monster lurking in the tunnels underneath the Korat. So 3 of you have been tasked to kind of quietly investigate because they don't want to ruffle the feathers of the monarch of Korat. He's a very proud cat. He doesn't want people to realize that some of his soldiers have gone missing, but also they want to make sure there's nothing going on. It could, is it a dog attempt to kind of infiltrate the city? Is there something else lurking under the ground? It's best for the 3 of you to quietly go in, investigate, take care of any problem you might find there, and then report back. And then you will be able to get some discreet favor with the monarchy of Korat as a result. So you have equipped yourselves. And you've started to make your way into the tunnels. And the tunnels initially are pretty well hewn. There's actually flat walls and a flat floor. It looks like it's been machined at some point. Initially, you can see kind of paw-placed bricks along the sides, but as you get further in, you see that it starts to smooth out. And all of you have heard of this before, that the more ancient areas of the world, sometimes there are parts that man has left behind and the ruins they have. So man, of course, being a group of deities, have amazing powers, including being able to smooth stone by their own hands, making for just, it looks like it was actually, melted out of the stone rather than being individual bricks or rocks along. So it's definitely inspiring, and it's definitely unusual, but it's not beyond your realm of knowledge. And you make your way through those tunnels. You find there's a few iron gates that you are able to make your way through. You've been given a set of keys to get through the Korat maze, if you will. And then as you start to make your way down, there's one final gate you're able to open up, and it's a big, heavy gate. So there's a sign on it that says, beware ye who pass through here. And it's been about an hour. You've been underground, and this is the kind of the last stage. And then as you made your way through here, there's definitely, you saw little kind of cul-de-sacs and whatnot. You were told where to go to get through this. And you're starting to realize that when you look through the gates to this final place, that the tunnels are now much more roughly hewn. So this is more like cave-like than constructed. So you're definitely moving from civilization, if you will, even if it is dangerous civilization, to the larger underneath. So is there anything you want to do? Do you want to examine the gates more closely? Do you want to just boldly move your way through? Do you want to take a moment to think about what your future plans are? What do you like to hear?
Well, we would have seen. Have we ever seen something like this? Just the change. Do we know that maybe the old ones didn't get this far into the caves, or?
You've heard legends and stories. The dogs certainly feel like that man has completely shaped this world, and you're just kind of rediscovering it, and that the old ones, humanity, were generally benevolent and left these things as gifts. As cats, you know better. You know that humanity they were certainly godlike, but they were meant to serve cats. Their role was to make sure that they continued to encourage and enhance and hold up cat society. And cats rewarded them with their affection and love. But sometimes you know that humans would get distracted. They would either displease a cat, or they would find that cats were not worthy of being worshipped. And so they would get distracted and they would stop their actions. So it's possible, at least this is all cat myth and story, but that humans sometimes just didn't finish projects, didn't solve things, or left things behind, or left dangerous things behind for unwary cats to find. So humans were not always worthy of cat appreciation.
Okay. Well, we've been sent here on a mission, so I presume Kashik would be very eager to get on with it.
Okay. So you slip the final key in your paw, you put it into the lock. It surprisingly well oiled, kind of just clicks right over, and you make your way through. And the gate again was you see through, it's just kind of iron bars. But for some reason, when you pass through the thresholds, your fur starts to kind of stand on end. It's colder here. There's a presence here. Those of you who are Mancers, who are a little more connected to the necromantic energies, it feels a little more comfortable. So it's not entirely awkward, but for the others, it feels like you walked over someone's grave. Something is definitely unusual here. And the fact that this temperature change is happening through a permeable wall is unusual.
This is nice. This is comfortable.
This is okay.
Yeah, I'm used to the cold as well, but I don't know, it's disconcerting maybe.
I don't know. I like the aesthetic. There's something about it. I can't place my paw on it.
My character has something called no nature.
Mm-hmm.
Would I know what the temperature change is from?
You can try to make a roll. It would be a D20 roll plus your intelligence plus your proficiency bonus, which is 2.
Yeah. 12.
12? Okay. You're pretty sure this isn't natural. You've over your time, you've done a little bit of underground exploration, and it's not uncommon for temperature to rise and fall, but usually that's with a elevation change, or you're getting close to, like, say, a hot spring or the like. It's not usually this tied to a doorway, especially a permeable doorway. So if it was like a big steel door, a metal door that was opening and closing, you could sense that. But there's something either mystical here, or it's not completely due to temperature.
So it's not natural.
Okay.
My character won't pay any mind then.
Okay.
That's kind of normal.
It's uncomfortable and unusual, but not like concerning at the moment. We're like, okay, it's weird. So you continue to make your way down, and you can tell that it's a slow descent. And there's a couple of curves as you can make your way around, but there's no passages off. There's no forks. It's almost like this is just one linear path.
I guess they're not getting lost then.
And then after a moment, you do see another door in front of you. The door is metal, and there is a sign on it, but you cannot read it unless you have the skill No Arcana, because this is written in the ancient language of man.
I do have that skill.
Okay. The paint is really faded. It's really hard to make out, but you recognize in your studies some of the letter forms of ancient humanity. And so you can make out it's something about it's a road or a tunnel. It's something about this is some kind of travel way, but it's underground.
Huh. It says this was a path they traveled. looks to the ground. Weird. Must to be so common that they hung a sign. I wonder what they were doing down here.
Yeah, can I just have a look to see if there was any disturbance around the area? There must have been people coming in here. So when was the last time that someone actually came or went in or left?
There's not a lot of like dirt or dust in the ground. They're just mostly just rock and loose rock. So it's really hard to tell how much disturbance has been going through. But if you look at the door itself, there is a little bit of dust on the handle and on the hinges. So it probably hasn't been opened in some time.
Shall I? With my paw on the doorknob.
You can open it?
I'll ask the other two what they think.
If this was something that humans used often, then they wouldn't have booby trapped it.
Okay.
It seems pretty standard.
Yeah, I'll just open it then.
Okay. You open the door and again, you have that odd sensation like you did before, except for it's now much warmer than it was previously. So instead of cold, you get warmth. And past the door, you see that there is a large tunnel. It's going in two directions, left and right. And it's a gigantic, almost cavernous tunnel. You can barely see the other edge of the tunnel off in the distance in the gloom. The ceiling and the walls are just covered in kind of crumbling gray brick. On the wall near you, as you kind of glance to your left and right, as you carefully step in, you do see that part of the wall is covered in some kind of white tile, although lots of the tiles are missing and broken on the floor. In the center of the tunnel, there's been almost a square trench cutout that goes off in both directions. And inside the trench, you can see just lots of flaking reddish brown bits and bobs just coating the bottom of this square trench in the tunnel.
Starla will pick some up and examine it.
You kind of run your fingers through it, and again, because you've traveled around quite a bit, it looks like rust, frankly, which is odd because it's rock. Everything's been rock so far, but it looks like it's just massive amounts of flaky rust.
She'll just brush it off. Keep going, moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, even just a glance and kind of a quick paw through as you're running through your hands through it, there's no salvageable metal under any of this. So if there was metal here, it's long gone. Whether it's been taken or just oxidized away is hard to tell.
And there's two ways for it's split into two. The path,
left and right. Mm-hmm.
Is there any discernible heat, like more heat coming from one side than the other?
Yes. Now that you're actually looking around, you do see that it's warmer to the left than it is to the right. So it's cooler to the right.
Well,
as cats, we might gravitate towards the warm side.
Very important.
Honestly, that was what I was thinking. That warmth is life. If we're looking for people, the warm way.
We unanimously go to the warm path.
Yeah.
Do you follow the higher stone ledge that you're standing on now, or do you go into the trench and follow that?
Probably wiser to stand on the higher ledge. We don't know what that trench was for and all that, so it's probably wiser just to stay up here on the stone.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So you start to walk, and again, it's a wide stone path, but again, it's solid stone. It's almost like someone took their paw and just smoothed the surface out. The edge, you do notice there's actually very faint traces, looks like yellow paint, like it was painting the edge, perhaps to show people where the edge was, because it is very gloomy in here. And as you start to make your way over, you do see that at one point in time, there was another entrance on the wall as you're walking past, but that's been bricked over completely. And more of those white tiles have cracked off. A couple of them are black, so it's a little hard to tell whether they turned black or whether they're painted black or whatever. You can also see ancient bits and fragments of plastic, and plastic is a rare and valuable material to cats. At one point in time, in about 100 years ago, cats discovered that ships could be coated in plastic, and then they can float on the acid sea. And also items could be crafted from this material, but it can't be grown, it can't be cultivated, it can't be made. It can only be dug up in the ground and reworked. So plastic is actually pretty rare, and to have just scraps of plastic hanging on the wall means that it's very unlikely any cat came by here and didn't just take that.
Sounds like we should be the cats that come by here and take that.
That could be.
Yeah,
You wanna
I'm
try and
gonna
take
walk
those
up to
scraps
that
off
and
the wall?
gouge it. Yeah, I'm gonna try and gouge a big chunk off of that wall.
Okay. What are you going to use to gouge into the wall?
I think I've got maybe use my dagger just to try and
Okay.
wedge it in and take a piece off.
Go ahead and make a strength roll, and you can add your proficiency bonus to that.
Oh, not good. Some strong plastic. It's 8.
Okay, so you start to kind of chip at the wall and chip at the plastic even. The plastic is a little stiff, but you actually can chip off the plastic pretty easily, but actually it's like tiny strips. Getting the actual chunk off the wall, it looks like it's set into the wall by some kind of large metal bolt that you just can't seem to dig out.
Someone give me a hand here.
I'll give him a hand.
Okay.
Oh,
you-
just leave it, the both of you. It's not our
Oh,
mission.
it's good money. It's good money.
It's. Do you know how much we could sell this for?
I don't care. Let's get on with it.
We're coming back for this. We're coming
Mm.
back for this.
You hear a faint sound of wind coming from the trench. which is
Okay, I'll
weird
hide.
because you're underground
hide
by
instantly.
the winds.
I'll try to just back up against the wall or something like that, just to even get out of the wind.
The sound eventually goes away.
What was that?
I don't know.
Well, whatever it is, we need to keep quiet. And that means not prying off that plastic. Let's keep moving.
Okay. Let's go.
So you quietly keep moving. And after a few more minutes of walking, the walkway has stopped. The wall that you're following actually curves and ends. And so now you can only move forward by going into the trench.
Well, only one way forward.
And the
Jump
trench is
into
only
the
like
trench.
about half your height. So you can just hop in.
I'll go first. And I'll just roll in. Yeah.
Okay.
Follow him.
I'll watch the 6.
The first two of you hop in, and you hear a crunching sounds as those kind of reddish flakes are breaking under your boots. There's some loose rock under here, but otherwise nothing else seems to happen.
Do we know a bit about like human history and stuff, or is that all long past?
You've gotten bits and fragments of human history. So like take like the knowledge that we have of like ancient Rome and and what people thought ancient Rome was like 100 years ago versus what we know now, right? So you have archaeology, but the records are muddled, they're contradictory. Lots of things were lost. Also, the language of man is lots of different permutations and means different things. So from a player perspective, imagine if everything you know about pop culture and history and internet lies are all meshed together and may or may not be true. So and they put that all through kind of a fantasy lens. So like, it's not unheard of. You've heard stories of men traveling under the ground on a road that they use to carry from one place to another. This might be what that is.
Okay.
But you wouldn't know subway station. Right, yeah. You wouldn't know those words.
Okay. Starla doesn't know. Probably
not. But no, yeah, it's a subway station. Okay, so you all make your way in the trench and you start to walk, and the tunnels are now much more roughly hewn again. They're not cavernous like they were before. They're still shaped in the right sense, but they're not smooth walls. You don't see that tile on it anymore. And you walk for quite a while, and things are getting warmer. Initially, the warmth was kind of prickly heat, and now it's a little more kind of manageable. It just feels like almost like a nice summer day. And then after a point, you do see that there is a fork in this trench, in this kind of tunnel. One goes to the left where the warmth seems to continue, and one goes to the right where it seems to get cooler.
We are cats to the warm part.
The warmth seems to be working for you so far.
Yes, it led us to the plastic. Maybe there's more.
There could be. So continue to make your way, and after another undetermined amount of time, it feels like about an hour, there's another lip appears. And so you can, like on each side of the trench, there's a stone walkway. And to the right, there's a lot of rubble and debris. So it's basically just caved in. Whatever was over there fell under some ancient landslide. And you can tell even at a glance that it's ancient because like the rocks are just covered in dust and dirt. Some of the rocks even have mold and moss growing over them. So these rocks fell a long time ago. It's probably going to be almost impossible to try to move any of them. On the left side, however, you realize that there's another kind of door like you came through before, but there's lights peeking in from the bottom of the door.
Can I put my ear to the door and see if I can hear anything on the other side?
Sure, you can make a wisdom roll. Do you have notice as a skill?
No, I don't.
Okay, then just wisdom.
14.
You do hear something. It's very faint. It's kind of a murmuring sound.
I hear murmuring.
Oh, we're here looking for people. Does it sound like our people?
I can't tell.
Oh, this appears to be the only way through.
The tunnel does continue if you wanted to keep following that way.
Oh.
Well, this could be where they took refuge. Should we not?
Shall we go?
Shall we go see who it is?
Let's do it.
Okay. So you open the door and there's a soul-wrenching screech as these hinges have probably not moved for decades. They look fine, but they're just so any hope of stealth is just completely gone. But you find yourself blinking as just suddenly you see light, like a lot of it. And behind the door is a gigantic cavern. Hundreds of feet above, you see that the ceiling is actually riddled with countless holes, which fills the entire cavern with sunlight. As your eyes adjust to sudden gloom, you see rolling hills covered with grass. There's wind actually slowly moving the grass. And along the hills, you actually see farms, and in the distance, a small town. This cavern is so big you can't even see the other end of it. There's a whole community just living on the other side of this door.
Well, my pupils are huge, dilated.
Well, you learn something new every day, I suppose. Does anyone know this is here?
Not that I'm aware of.
None
What?
of you
Never
have
seen
heard
anything.
anything about this.
This is
Well, I guess
Uh.
we're trailblazers then. Shall we take a look?
sure. What? Why? Why is this here?
Do you step inside?
Yeah. 100%.
Okay. Try to like kind of hide though, if I can. Somewhere to like kind of deke into.
There are, I mean, the grass is about maybe kind of calf high. So like you could put yourself on your belly and crawl if you wanted to hide in the grass, but otherwise it's just right. You have to go up to the hills to actually try to find the hiding place. And there's about a few hundred feet between you and the hills.
Okay, well, I'll just walk normal then till I see
Okay.
someone.
Yeah.
As you start to walk through the grass, you realize that the murmuring you heard at the door is actually giggling, like children, and it's getting closer.
We
You see
see.
like some movement in the grass.
Can we see any so that we can't see any moving figures on the horizon?
No, the hills are kind of basically you can see that there are hills. You have to go over the hill to get a sense of like the farms and then the city itself.
Okay. And you said there was movement in the grass, which
Mhm.
implies there's small children running through the grass, hiding
Or
from
something. It
us.
sounds like a small child.
Oh, yeah, it could also be something terrible that isn't a small child.
The grass is about knee high.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go right down on my belly and just try and get completely out of sight if I can.
Okay. So you go down your belly,
Try and gesture to the others to do it.
and you hear the giggle increases.
What are you doing? They already know we're here.
Oh, get down, you silly.
You
I'll
They're
put his head
laughing
down
at
with
us.
me.
They're laughing
Cool.
at us.
Pull her down.
I just imagine Eris gets down, like the hat is still sitting on top of the grass.
I'll knock
Yeah,
his
just-
hat off.
Hey,
What are you doing wearing that silly costume on this fucking mission, man?
I've always done this. This is how I dress. They already know we're here. They're
Um,
laughing at us. You can hear them.
The grass kind of shuffles closer, and then suddenly someone steps up, and it's a small rabbit child. Now you've all seen rabbits before, but they're pretty rare. They don't usually come to the monarchies very often. Something in the past about rabbits and cats not really getting along. Same reason why you don't see a lot of mice and rats in the monarchies as well. But this is very clearly a child, a pretty young one too. And they bounce up and go, "Rawr!" Not at all terrifying.
Oh, that's adorable.
I'll hiss at them.
And starts running back towards the hill. Do you chase after the small bunny child?
Oh no.
Let's not chase children.
Yeah, we'll just walk up, I suppose, following in their direction.
Yeah, they're gonna tell everybody we're here.
Good thing the prey drive has been worked out of uplifted cats.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
So we think.
So you start to make your way over to the hill. The child kind of runs around the hill. And as you get closer to the hill, you hear giggling and talking. And as you get close enough, you can start to make out words. As far so language, we talk about language real quick. All people speak the same language. The humanity blessed all of you with a language, a common language all people can speak. Cats do have their own secret house languages. So each monarchy has their own language they can speak into, so that way the other houses can't overhear their secret plans. But that's much more of a manufactured construction language. It's like somewhere between like a code and an artificial language like Esperanto. So cats, because cats are bloody minded, have said, no, we're gonna have a bunch of languages, but generally speaking, everyone speaks the same language. So it's not unusual that you understand this rabbit's language. The bigger problem is that it's a small child. And so it's just kind of a string of words with the word and occasionally in the middle of it. So it's like you hear as you come in, it's like, and then there were 3 cats and one of them had a hat and it was really funny. And then they tried to yell at me and I ran away, but then I ran back and I thought it was maybe they were scary, but I don't know if they're scary. Should I be scared? And then you hear another voice, which is an older voice, still a child, but clearly an older child, and says, you know, they're strangers. Cats don't live here. But I never seen a cat before, and they were kind of cute, but also kind of scary. One of them had a hat. It's like, but we need to go if there are strangers here. Do you keep listening in, or do you want to make your presence known?
I'll approach them and be like,
no.
Yeah, I might get sorry to interrupt you. I might get a ration pack out and just see, hey, do you want some food?
Okay.
I just imagine our rations are, you know, solely carnivorous.
Yeah, I might pick out the meat. I might take the meat.
Right. You've heard of these ancient man creations called Slim Jims that you can.
Yeah.
No. It's like hardtack, some dried jerky, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll pass out some biscuits. I'll see if they'll accept it.
Okay. So you step closer, you step into view, and you can see them as well. And the small rabbit child is talking to a larger rabbit. They both had kind of the same brownish fur with little kind of white flecks in them. But the small child now has a harness around it. It looks like the small child divested himself of the harvest, and that's what the initial altercation was. But the larger rabbit is clearly terrified of you. You said before about you had your eyes really big when you first came in here, seeing the same thing. It's like, you know,
I'll put my hands up and be like, we come in peace.
But you're strangers.
Yes,
we're not
yes.
strangers for long. We just got to talk about it.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind, could you direct us to your parents?
I'm gonna give him a look like, take us to your leader.
Here's the phone. Take us later.
You're the one who started with the "we come in peace."
Yeah.
Who would like to make the charisma check? You'll get an advantage because you're offering food and you're not immediately threatening.
Probably
I'll
not
go
Starla.
I'll go and make it since I asked the question.
Okay. Difficulty is 10.
Okay.
And you have advantage, so you can roll 2 of them and take the higher one.
Okay.
Also, I see you in chat, Darker Hue.
11 and 14, so 14.
14. Okay. So, you know, between the food and the we come in peace and the question with the parents, the larger child's body language kind of changes, and they're a little more. They're still wary, but not like ready to bolt. Yeah. And finally, the bunny sticks their hand out and says, "Rusty."
What?
Rusty.
Oh. Hi, Eris.
Shakes your paw.
Stardavon Forest at your service.
Shakes your paw.
Chick Blue von Siberian. All yours.
Takes your paw. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll go take it back to the house. You go see the rest of the city, town.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
The tunnels.
You should probably keep the one door locked.
There's a door.
The one door we went through.
So you go back to point out the door, and it's gone.
Oh God.
Oh,
It's just
No.
solid wall.
well.
So this is why no one came back.
We're all stuck here. We're stuck here.
Well, come
We
on.
have a
And Rusty starts to explain, and you get a sense that Rusty's young sibling, who he does not, or sorry, they don't mention the name for, just keep calling him Coney, as more of a nickname, kind of like calling your young sibling like Squirt or Bug or something. But they explain that the town's called Azure Sky. And it was founded a long time ago by a hare named Larissa. Although some of the elders talk about maybe she was banished from another city, or maybe she just wanted to move on because hares like to move on. You know how hares are. You have no idea what hares are. But Rusty is like, oh yeah, you know how this stuff is because your world's, your cats are worldly. You understand these things.
Yes. 100%. But do remind us.
Oh well, hares like to travel. They get the itch, and they tend to want to move on and see new things. Whereas my mom tells me that rabbits like to stay and settle down and raise families. And sometimes hares come back and hang out with us, and sometimes rabbits go off and have adventures. So it's not like it's a permanent thing, but generally, a hare likes to kind of just see what's on the other side of the hill, if you will, and then points to the hill, and there's nothing on the other side of the hill. But then actually, there's a bunch of hares and rabbits that live here right now. There's and starts counting on his paw. 50? Is that a number? I think it's a number.
That is in fact a number.
Okay. That sounds like a number. All right. So we'll say 50. There are more hares here. Most of probably Larissa's family, and of course other hares who've come to try to find where Larissa got to, I guess. So there are more hares than rabbits, but there are rabbits like me, and that's okay. And my mom tells me that it's okay to be a rabbit. And we're part of one of the farming families. We grow peas, and points where you're walking towards, and you see there's actually you start to see the actual plots now, and one of them is indeed growing a lot of peas here. And then the tiny child starts like fiddling with their harness again. It's like, no, Buttercup, stop. It's like, I want to go play. And so they start to squabble and make their way through. And then they kind of forget you're there. But as Rusty and who apparently named Buttercup continue to argue, Rusty makes the comment of, you need to keep the harness on because otherwise the monster will get you. And then they just keep on going with their conversation.
What
Wait
monster?
a minute. Rusty, come back here for a minute.
What? We're almost there. Right over there.
Point us in the direction of the best adventuring hare in this town.
Oh, you probably want to see maybe my grandpa.
Grandpa.
He might know. Because we don't really, I've heard stories about adventurers, and kind of looks around, you're just kind of flipping, looks around quickly, and they're like, I would like to go adventure too someday, but Mama says it's not good for me to do that.
Why don't you and your grandpa come for a grand adventure? We need to find, and she'll like scrummage for like the map. This
Mhm.
place.
What can we do that?
Need to find a door.
And Buttercup's like, adventure, adventure, adventure. It's like, no, you're too little to go on an adventure. It's like, no, but you're too little too. Well, don't tell my mom. But so I'll introduce you to her, but then maybe after, if she likes you, then we can talk about it.
Of course.
Excellent. The
Kind of-
possibilities, Rusty.
Kind of tries to glance at your map and clearly has no idea what he's looking at, but he's trying to pretend like he totally understands what that map is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, that's the thing. What a thing is, kind of stuff. And as you're walking and talking, you made your way to the actual farmhouse. There's also a barn nearby. You can see there's a couple of farms off in the distance, and they're all kind of cobbled together from various materials. So there's a lot of like old woven grass that was probably dried out from previous crops. But also you see like bits of rusty metal that have been used to kind of help reinforce it. They look like almost like pillars, except for they're indented along the sides. So it's almost like it's like an eye, like letter I, has been stretched out and made into just the rusty metal beams, and they're used to kind of help prop up the roof. The actual walls some of them are stone, and some of them are just large sheets of rusty metal. But there's a door in the front, a solid wooden door. You also see there are large cisterns that have been scattered all around the farmland, which looks like they're there to collect rainwater, probably from the holes in the ceiling. And there are haystacks and whatnot, but the whole place, it is really disorienting because all of your visual senses and your tactile sense are telling you you're in a cave, and all your nose is telling you is you are outside. It's very disorienting. So Rusty kind of goes up to the door and knocks on it, and it's like, we're home, and just opens the door and runs inside. And Buttercup is trying to grab onto their harness, and it's like, oh no, don't want to go. And then Rusty's like, come on, grabs Buttercup and drags him inside. You want to go in as well?
Yes.
All right.
I'll be like, hello.
And you can hear it's like, we found friends. And you hear an older voice, feminine presenting, is like, what do you mean friends? And you step inside and you see that this is a nice kitchen area. There's a wooden table with kind of bench seats along the side. It looks like it's old and it's worn, but it's solid and good. So I mean, it's definitely been used a lot. There are some stains and nicks all over it from probably various accidents that have happened over the years, but it's in really solid shape. There's no splinters on it. It's sanded fine. There's lots of boxes containing different kinds of supplies and food and the like. And in the midst of all of it, you just see a kind of matronly rabbit. She's wearing kind of a coarse spun dress. It's brown. It accentuates her kind of brownish fur, although she's more white and gray in her fur than either of her children do. And she's got a pair of glasses sitting on her nose. And the rims are kind of brass, got solid glass. And she's squinting at you, and she is clutching both Rusty and Buttercup to her. And she looks at you and it's like, who are you?
Meowdy. I'm Starla von Forest.
Meowdy. Oh God. We don't have strangers here.
Well, you do now. We don't need to be strangers for long. I gave this whole spiel to Rusty.
And Rusty's like, we're like, yeah, no, they're friendly cats. And at least, they said they're friendly. And you told me that we should make friends wherever we can. It's like, but all of your friends are here. It's like, but I don't want to have all my friends here. And it's like, shh. Go ahead and make a charisma roll. You get your roll advantage because Rusty is backing you up.
Me? Oh no.
Yes.
Not
I
very
believe in you.
charismatic.
So you get to roll 2 dice and pick the higher one, but you do have to add your charisma.
Okay. This will be interesting. Okay. Oh, 17.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
16 because it's -1 charisma.
So good.
So despite your kind of natural prickliness, having Rusty help certainly starts to soften Beatrice, and she's like, well, Rusty's a pretty good judge of characters, so if he says you're okay, I guess you're okay. Just I didn't mean to be rude. It's just we're not used to. And she's clearly fumbling, and finally she starts out. Like,
understandable. We totally get it.
but please, we're just about to sit down to dinner. I don't know what cats eat. What do you like? We generally.
We're natural carnivores, but don't let that be unsettling.
Okay. For a second, she looks nervous, but then Rusty has already rushed off and started grabbing stuff from one of the crates. And you eventually sit down and you have dinner, which is largely pea-based, perhaps unsurprisingly. So you have like peas with mashed peas on the side. There's some potato in there. There's some wonderful smelling bread. But it's definitely all. There's no meat in all many of those.
At this moment, we know what our ancestors were feeling when their masters went vegan.
I'll take some like jerky from my rations and put it on the bread and make
Okay.
like a sandwich out of the peas and mashed potatoes with the bread.
Fair enough. Even though it's not entirely to your tastes, it's not bad. I mean, this is quality food. It's fresh. It's clearly been made well, so you can respect it even if it's not necessarily what you would crave. And then as you're starting dinner, another rabbit kind of makes his way in. He's got a lot more gray and there's almost no brown left. He's walking with a cane as he comes in and goes, no one told me dinner was ready. It's like, oh, Dad, just sit down. Who are these people? And it's like, and then Rusty pipes up. It's like, they're friends and they're cats and they're cat friends. And Gus is like, oh, and just sits down. Seems completely unfazed.
Is this your grandpa, Rusty?
Yeah, this is Grandpa. Name is Gus.
Oh,
I can't call him
pleasure.
Gus. I'm supposed to call him Grandpa.
So have you seen cats before, Gus? I heard you had quite the adventure.
Well, I don't like to talk about my past much, but no, I've been to the monarchies once or twice before.
Interesting. I wonder, have you seen any cats recently? We were looking for some who got lost.
Not. I think last time I saw a cat may have been 4 or 5 harvests ago. Now, granted, folks around here don't go out much at night these days, so there may have been a cat coming through when we've been all asleep or in our houses, but otherwise, no, I don't think I have.
Unfortunate, but that's fine. What was this we heard about a monster?
And as you say, monster, Russ immediately puts his paws over Buttercup's ears. And Gus goes, "Oh, you're talking about the Walpertinger." And Beatrice is like, "Dad, they don't need to hear about your silly stories." And slams the cane in the ground. It's not a silly story. The Whoppertanger is real. And the fact that you don't believe it shows what kind of ignorant person you are.
You've seen it?
Seen it? No, I ain't seen it. But I've heard stories of it back when I was more of a traveling rabbit. I read a book or two and heard about the Whoppertanger and nearly caught me one once. They're, have you heard of them before?
Can't say
Never.
we have. No, they're not where they're at least not present where we live.
They're, and he starts to talk, and Beatrice is like clearly like, staring daggers at Gus. Like, do not talk about this. And so Rusty's like, Mom, I already know. I've already heard the story. It's like, you are too young to hear these kinds of tales. And it's like, but I'm 3 now. It's like, just finish up dinner and go to bed. It's like, oh, I want to hang out. It's like, go to bed. We'll talk in the morning. Okay, fine. So they quickly finish their dinner, and Buttercup and Rusty go up, and then Buttercup waves, goodbye, and they go off into their bedroom. And then as soon as the door closes, Gus goes, can I tell our guests now, answer the question they asked us? It's like, yes, Dad, you can answer the question. Thank you. Whoppertanger is a rabbit that has been cursed. And they have been cursed to take on a new form, a horrible form, and they crave meat. It's one of the, notice ain't much of that around here, so, well, they get it the only way they know how, which is other folk.
Terrible business.
Indeed.
Sounds terrifying.
I found some ancient text that also called it a jackalope, but I don't know if that sounds like a made-up word, honestly. The locals have been having some problems about once a month, and I've been trying to tell them every time the full moon happens, it's when the Whoppertanger comes out, and they've been trying to tell me that it's none of my business, and I'm too old to understand things. And Beatrice is like, no one said you were too old. And it's like, I know what they meant when they said, don't tell me my business, woman. She's going to roll her eyes. And it's like, there's a feasting hall down the middle of the town. They're talking about this right now because they talk about it every month. And they argue back and forth. And I was planning to head over there and try once again to get into their thick skulls that they need to find out where this monster is and deal with it. It's somewhere in our community. And I've tried to tell them that there are ways in and out, and they don't believe me. Maybe bringing you folks there will help them to understand that other creatures can come in here and that they are in danger.
You are absolutely right. And you're in luck because I slay monsters for a living.
I knew she was going to be useful. And Beatrice is like, yes, of course you knew that, Dad.
But in exchange, we could use somewhat of a guide to get us out of here.
All right, that seems fair. Been a while since I've made my way out, but I'm sure we can muddle through it. So yeah, we get through this night, you help us out, I'm more than happy to help you folks on your way. And maybe find these other folks you're missing.
When is the next full moon?
He looks at his wrist in an ancient gesture of man. There's no watch there. And he goes, I believe it's tonight.
Convenient.
Oh, we should prepare then. Let's go down to this town hall and get a party together.
Excellent. And turns like going, daughter, you stay here. It's like, of course I'm gonna take care of my children. It's like, good. It's like, I'm so glad I bring you joy, Father. You definitely get the impression that she just kind of tolerates Gus. And Gus will say, do something, and she'll just do whatever she's gonna do anyway. So she's like, I'll clean up here, you go have your conversation or whatever. Like, well, I was gonna anyway. Starts stomping out the door. Not even waiting for you, just starts leaving.
I'll say thank you for the meal, mother, and I'll give her a wink, and then I'll follow the grandpa.
You're quite welcome. And whenever you're done being bored by the locals, we can make a bed for you, and all three of you are welcome to stay here tonight.
Thank you
Excellent.
kindly.
So Gus takes you into the center of town, to the feasting hall, which is the largest building in the area. And it's easily the height of the largest barn. It's painted in blue, and it stretches out at least 100 feet. There are large windows that are kind of propped open like the hatches. And you can tell that this is kind of the big central meeting area. It's probably where they have big celebrations, where they have huge feasts. It's basically their town hall / inn / conference center. And you can already hear there's big double doors are open. You can hear voices. There's a crowd of people. They're all inside. And you can hear one hare kind of near the doors is yelling. And his voice is carrying all throughout this cavern. And you hear, Mayor Adeline, this is going on long enough. You can't expect us to do nothing. And then another rabbit who standing in front of him, shorter than the hare. It's like, of course not. We'll stop this thing, but we have to consider the safety of our families. And the hare is like, my family's already dead. I know, but you've suffered more than many, which is why we're gonna get a group together to hunt this beast down. And that's when Gus walks up and it's like, well, then ain't that convenient, because I found just the folks to help you out. And they all stop and stare. It's like, cats? Azure Sky, cats. Don't know their names, didn't ask. That's my fault.
I'll say I'm a tracker by trade, and I will help you.
Darla at the crowd should be like, I'm a monster slayer. But on to the next one.
As soon as you say
kind of go behind.
As soon as you kind of mutter monster slayer like a lot, you hear like kind of a excited buzz from the crowd.
Oof. And she'll just kind of like hide behind the rest of the group. Make your introduction.
What are you doing? Okay.
The mayor, she steps forward and goes, I was unaware that we had visitors or that we could get visitors. And Gus stomps his cane down. It's like, I've been telling y'all for years that there are passages in and out of here that you don't know about. We are not an island. And then a couple of rabbits are staring around. It's like, metaphorical island, you fools. Oh, okay. And Adeline's like, what? We appreciate your offer, but what benefit would you get for helping our people?
Oh, well, we're, need to find one of those passages, and also we are looking for our own people. And if we're lucky or unlucky, this might help us find a lead. And if not, well, I can hope that you're willing to repay the favor and help us find our missing people.
So they'll start looking around at each other, and it's clear they're not sure, but Gus kind of steps forward and is like, listen, you haven't listened to a word I've said. I understand that. If you listen to one thing I say, listen to this. These folks want to help. And if they help and they prove me wrong, I swear in front of man and everything that I will never speak about the Wall Dipper again. But if I'm right, I will only gloat about it for a few days. Does that seem fair? And the hare says, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, thank you for coming. I don't care who you are. If you can stop this, I don't care if you're a cat or a rat or a lion or a mythical beast. I just want this stopped. we cannot keep living in fear. My family has died, and we can't stand another family dying. And Mayor puts her paws up. It's like, I know, I hear you, Elmer. I understand you're concerned, and you're right. We just need to make sure that we're not introducing other problematic elements. And Gus is like, oh, you mean like the mythical beast that you all say doesn't exist? Fine. We're going to get a militia together anyway. We've asked all the children who don't already have their own farms to go to the schoolhouse. So why don't you go check to make sure the children are safe? And then when night comes, we can get everyone together and we can protect ourselves. Does that seem fair? And Elmer's
Sure.
like, fine. And Gus is like, all right. Okay. And she turns to you and like, I'm sorry you have to see all this. I imagine we're having a rough time. But if you would like to help, I think the best way is to go to the schoolhouse. We have most of our defenders there right now to guard the children. And then perhaps you can exchange information with them. And then from there, we come up with a course of action. Does that seem adequate?
Perfectly
Seems
adequate.
adequate enough, as long as our end of the bargain is paid for.
With any information we have, we'll be glad to give you. I don't know if we'll have much. And of course, we do have some plastic that some of our ancestors have salvaged that we would be willing to give you in exchange for your services.
See, lads, we don't need to be prying it. We'll just
We
fall
should
into
still
our
pry. We
nets.
should still pry the plastic we saw. This doesn't mean we shouldn't take as much as we can.
Gus, can we borrow a crowbar for by any chance?
Yeah, we'll deal with that tomorrow. The situation first, then I'll help you salvage plastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So Gus, like, I'm gonna walk back to the house because my legs ain't what they used to be. He points off past the big blue hall. You see there's a red building, much smaller, about a single story. It's from here, it basically looks like it's probably just a room. So it's probably the schoolhouse. And he goes, you over there, knock on the door, you say Gus sent you, and they'll take care of it. I'll be back once I go get my stuff. He
All
starts
right.
hopping
Let's
off.
go.
You notice both walking here and then walking back that he is leaning on the cane, but he does not look like he looks like he's walking just fine. So is the cane just helping with his balance, or he's moving relatively fast for an old man, but he clearly doesn't need the cane. So you make your way to the red schoolhouse. There's again double wooden doors. These are closed, and you do see that there are windows, but they're all boarded up. So rather than the more open big meeting hall, this is much more locked down, if you will.
All right. Knock on the door.
Who is it?
Gus sent us.
The door opens a crack, and you see kind of an eyeball of a rabbit or a hare with black fur. He goes,
Meow.
your cats.
Your hare? Rabbit?
Suppose I deserve that. Opens the door. Come on in. As the door opens, you see that the rabbit with black fur is actually wearing reasonably good leather armor. He has a sword at his side. The leather armor is definitely old and has some patches on it, and the sword looks like it was probably only recently polished again, or oiled again, I should say. So it has a couple of minor rust spots on it. It'll probably still hold, but it's older. And behind him, you can see that again. This is likely it is actually one large room. There are some glass globes attached to the ceiling that has some fireflies floating in them. There are desks and chairs of different sizes. There originally were a couple of them are in rows, but the other ones are kind of shoved up against the windows to provide support. There's at the end of the room, there's a larger desk, which is probably a teacher's desk. There's a glass bowl with a frog inside of it. It only has 3 legs. You see that 2 more rabbits with gray fur are continuing to work on the windows and pile things up. But the rabbit in front of you sticks his paw out and says, "My name is Bing.
Hello, I'm Eris.
Nice to meet you, Harris."
Nice to meet you too.
As you shake his paw, you see that his paw is covered in scars, and actually most of his forearm is covered in scars too.
Looks like you've seen some action.
Yeah.
Is this from the beast that we're hunting?
I wish I could say it was, but it's not. We've had some past altercations with beasts, though not as bad as this one.
You see any fresh cats?
He looks around for a second and goes, "If I did, what would be your intentions toward them?"
It's rabbit business. It's we would leave that decision up to you and your people.
He turns and goes, "Frank, yeah, boss, move the desk." So Frank like shrugs and shoves starts shoving the teacher's desk along the floor, kind of grinding, sound against the wood. And you see there's a trap door under the desk. And Frank, which is one of the gray rabbits, pounds on the door a few times and then opens it up. He goes, "You can come out." And 6 kittens crawl out of the space. Found these a few weeks ago around a bunch of dead cats. Sorry for your loss, I guess. Think it's possible they were killed by the monster problem we have here, but when we searched the cats in question, one of them had, well, I guess I'll show you. It hands over a scroll. Say I couldn't read it for nothing, but it doesn't look good. Who opens the scroll?
Sure, I will.
You open it? Okay. You look at it and you realize 2 things immediately. You cannot read it, and it is a secret cat language, but not yours.
Well, it's definitely cat. And hold it up for and see. Either you know it.
Do I know it?
No.
Yeah, I'll read it.
No, Starla doesn't really deal with the house bullshit.
Okay.
It's like you probably were taught as a kitten, but you just don't care. But it is written in Siberian language.
Okay, I'll read it out to everyone.
And it says it's from Gloria von Siberian, who is a power-hungry minor Siberian noble. She has been trying to make her way to become monarch of Siberian House for some time now. And all the message says is find a dark hole to toss these kittens in and make sure they never come back.
Okay, I suppose I would be blushing if people could see it through the fur. A horrible. Yeah, I would be quite dumbstruck by that. I'm sorry. I
figured it was something like that, given the weaponry they had. They didn't seem like they were taking the kids out for a stroll. So you understand now why I asked the question I did.
Yeah. Good idea.
Jamie, do you have no history?
I don't. I only have no nature.
Okay, you can make it a straight intelligence roll.
Okay.
Difficulty 15. This is based on Siberian house politics.
Terrible. 3, 5.
Okay, you have no
Lewis.
idea why these kittens need to be murdered.
I would say that. I have no idea why these kittens would need to be murdered.
I should
Think
hope
of
so.
Savages these Siberians are. We're taking them home with us when we're done with this. I don't want to hear any ifs, ands, or buts.
This is
Glorious
Cat-
foul.
the kittens
foul
all salute.
play. Do not name the sins of the house with the sins of this woman. We are nothing to do with this, and we'd never sanction such a thing.
Oh, politics, this, that, and whatever. I don't care. It's a human little kitten. And we're taking them home.
Well, then, if you folks can help us get through the night, assuming the monster doesn't come back or we deal with it, then happy to take them off our paws. And we'll give you food and supplies to help you get home.
The
Agreed.
monster shall be dealt with. My life.
And as you're talking, you're noticing that it is starting to get dark. Because this is a cavern, the darkness kind of happens pretty quickly. Basically, the sun starts to slant away from the holes, and then the sun goes away from where the holes would the sun could come in. So it gets gloomy, but then it pretty quickly goes to dark. So it's a pretty fast change. It's not, you're still in the twilighty section, but it is getting dark. So if there's something you want to do before it becomes, before the moon rises, you have a little bit of time.
Do they have any extra weapons?
Ving has his sword. The other bigger gray cats, they all have battle axes. They're all wearing various forms of leather armor, as I mentioned. But that's about it. I mean, you can find some farm equipment, like sickles and the like. But a lot of the folks here, if they're able-bodied, hard workers, they don't really know how to use weapons. These 3 cats are all have worked with Ving in the past, and they're basically the guard/police force of the town.
I'll ask, where will we be going first?
Well, we have, I think, a couple of options. We can. I would like to keep a couple of my men here and make sure that all the children are safe. The monster is not previously attacked in the feasting hall, but usually we keep that lit. So I suspect you're probably just avoiding the light. So we can either patrol around, see if we could find it, or we can maybe with your monster knowledge, you can try to figure out if there's someplace in particular to try to attack. And then we can meet it there.
Yes, I think I'll do some scouting and see if there's a potential place where we can lure this beast.
I'll go with you.
Okay. Is there a particular kind of place you're looking for, or are you just going to start scouting areas that you haven't seen yet?
Well, if he's been attacking the village pretty consistently anyway, I don't think we have to stray far. Maybe just the best place in order to set some sort of trap or at our benefit.
So I'll give you kind of a layout of the area that may help. You came in from the south side. And like I mentioned, there were farms kind of in the outlays, and you got past the farm, including Rusty's farm. Then there was the town proper, which is where you've gotten. Beyond that, there are more farms. And then presumably the other side of the cavern. So the whole north half of Azure Sky, you haven't really explored yet. But there are definitely some hills, and it's kind of hard to, part of the reason why you can't see the other side of the cavern is because all these hills are in the way. So maybe somewhere in the hills there might be a trap, or maybe somewhere near the farms.
Oh, I have an idea.
Okay.
I'll ask them where that one guy lives that his whole family was desecrated.
Oh, Elmer's? He has one of the farms to the north.
And it must be coming in through there then, if he's always the one that's getting the brunt of the attack.
Wise. Perhaps we can use his house to set a trap.
Doesn't
Ving
hurt
shrugs
to
and it's like,
look.
sounds good to me. At that point, you hear another bang on the door, and Ving goes, "Who is it?" And it's like, "It's Gus." Opens the door. Gus has his cane in one paw. You see, he now has 2 belts crossing his chest with kind of metal capsules along them. And in his other paw, he has a gun. All of you have heard of gunpowder weapons before. You haven't really seen one very often. Gunpowder weapons can be very powerful and very effective. The downside is most people, when they are around, if they're not trained to be around gunpowder weapons, succumb to something known as gunpowder panic. The loud noise causes them to become scared, and in a combat situation, that can be bad. So gunpowder weapons are upside down, or sorry, a good bad, I should say. And like, they can be very powerful and do a lot of damage, but also can ruin the morale of an army if used improperly.
I'll tell them, use that with caution.
I've had some good experiences with this, and things like, and you've had bad experiences with that. That was just the one time. I am almost positive that the number is higher than 1. So just tell your men to cover their ears. Don't shoot anything that you don't want to die. Gus is like, it starts waving the gun around. It's like, I know how to use this thing. And Thing kind of puts his paw down and slowly eases the gun to point it to the ground. It's like, I'm sure you do. But like the cat said, be careful with it.
I'll walk up to him and say, how'd you feel being the bait, old man?
Sure. What do you want me to do?
Well, we've yet to discuss.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Plan is more or less to lure it into a area where there are no civilians and then brutally murder it.
Sounds
We
like
know-
a plan
And
to me.
will come in most handy, I'm sure.
Yes, and well, if there are any abandoned farms that we could use in the north, since that's where it seems to be attacking from, we can lure it into one of those, pretend like there's people there, then proceed to brutally kill it.
Gus is like, well, fine. Just use Elmer's farm. He ain't got no more use for it. And like all of the other rabbits kind of stern stare at him. He's like, what? It's true.
I'll laugh.
Yeah, that'll get a chuckle from me too.
Yeah.
I'll give them both a stare down, like,
just
Like, fine, come on. I'll talk to Elmer. I'll talk him down. He starts just wandering off towards the north.
let's follow the old man.
Okay. By the time you get to Elmer's farm, it is now dark. You're not seeing any light through the holes yet, but it is definitely pitch black. And even in the dark, though, Gus is just completely unerringly goes to a specific building. And this farm, it looks a lot like his home farmhouse too, but it is much more run down. There are some, as opposed to the metal sheeting that was on the sides of the one you saw on the south side, this is much more, there's more wood, and some of the planks have been pulled off. And a couple of them look like they're streaked with maybe it's paint or something. You can't really tell. It's with the nighttime now, your vision's kind of flipped over to kind of shades of gray look, so you can't even tell the color of what's streaking it. But there's a lantern. Again, it's like kind of globe with the fireflies hanging in front of over top of the door. And Gus kind of goes over and knocks on the door with his cane. It's like, Elmer, open up. And Elmer pulls open the door and it's like, what do you want to do now? You want to get me killed too, old man? And it's like, would really like to shut you up, but no, I don't want to get you killed. Just let these cats stay in your barn and they'll kill the creature for you. And it's, I don't trust you. I don't trust these cats. What happened to getting everyone together to find the monster? It's like, you idiot, you got the monster. You look it up in the phone book? No, you get, what's a phone book? Just listen to me, son. We got to lure the creature here. They're coming after your family. Something about your family is very tasty. So we just want to make sure that we're here to attack it when it comes.
I love this old man.
Are you telling me that you came to my farm because my family are tasty? Gus is like, yeah, that's what I said.
Perhaps not the right words for it, but you seem to be a target there, mister. And we'll get it settled for you if you allow us to.
He looks at you and is like, stares at Gus and is like, fine, if it gets me away from this old coop, have the farm. Just burn it down for all I care. And just storms off and starts making his way back towards town.
He's given us permission to use fire. That was a mistake.
Fireball!
We have a building that we can presumably lock it in right now.
Okay, so the building itself, you step inside, it looks somewhat similar to Gus and Rusty's house. It's much less kept up. There's more dust here. The furniture is much more worn. Supplies look a lot thinner. There's just stuff flying everywhere. It's basically, someone who's not used to taking care of this whole house by himself and probably hasn't had much reason to take care of himself for a while. So it's not dirty, but certainly very cluttered. But you do have a lot of boxes. The windows, again, have the kind of folding open wooden things, so you can kind of pull the stick that holds it open and let it slam shut. There's a small little latch you can use to lock it, but that's not going to be much help to keeping it reinforced. So what would you like to do to set up your ambush?
I have a question.
Mhm.
Do we see well in the dark like normal cats?
You have dark vision. So basically is that you can see in the dark, but again, it's in shades of gray and black and white at nighttime. If you use lights, you can see more clearly, you can see color, but obviously other people will see the light. And also you can use your smell to get some information, but that depends on wind currents and other elements of the environment.
Okay.
I'll ask Gus about the murders that happened here. I'll ask him, so did they all occur in the barn or in the house?
Well, it ain't really been much of a pattern either way. Like last month, it wasn't even any of us. It was them cat fellas that Ving says he saw. I didn't believe him, but now you're here and weird stuff happens. So maybe you did see some cat corpses. Oh, I know. Before that, one of Elmer's kids was playing in the grass when he wasn't supposed to. That was the first one that we noticed. And of course, after that, we started all locking down. Second kid was killed in the barn because they thought they keep it in the barn as opposed to in the house. So they thought we should keep it, everyone in the house keep safe. Third one, his father thought he heard something, went outside to go check it out. Didn't come back, found him next morning. And that's when we decided that we we're going to start putting all the children in the schoolhouse. That was Ving's decision. And then everybody else would just kind of, the adults would protect themselves any way they could in their own homes. And so, honestly, his husband broke and just left. Couldn't take it anymore. We ain't seen him since.
So, my conclusion is that it must come from the forest line outside. And we can do a perimeter check? She'll look to the other two.
Could be. It's been a while, but I think there's another entrance out yonder, any place to the north. Plus, there's also the way you probably all came in. So I'm guessing is back that way. He points to the south. Look at that real quick. Hang on. My Google Docs went crazy.
Always fun.
Yeah, it's always great. Starla, you've been on these hunts before. Make a wisdom roll for me. You can use no nature. So you can add your perception bonus to it.
+2?
Yeah, so +2 plus your wisdom bonus to the D20 roll.
14, 15, 17.
So something about this has been bugging you ever since people started talking about this, is that all of them have been talking a lot about how this creature is coming from outside and coming into the village to kill people. But also they've been talking about how nobody comes from outside. So at first you thought nobody comes outside as in like nobody cares, like as in like no one cares for the place, so no one comes here because there's nothing here kind of thing. But given how the door disappeared and other stuff, you think no, people probably genuinely don't come here very often. They don't know this place exists. So how would a brainless monster continually find its way here and also leave without being seen?
I'll kind of like relay that to the group.
Okay.
Like, that's puzzling to me. There must be some sort of otherworldly stuff happening here.
Go outside for a second, and I'll get the other two to come outside without outside of earshot from the other bunnies.
All right.
So one other bunny here currently is Gus. So you're just gonna leave Gus in the building by himself?
We'll leave Gus.
Okay.
Once we're out of earshot, I'll say, does anything seem odd? They've got cats, and cats here. Nothing seems to be at face value.
It's odd for sure, but they're under attack. Like Gus said, the ones who were to kill those kittens were the victim last time. But the question about where it's going is what's interesting to me.
You say they're coming out and in, but they can't make up their minds. Where is this beast? Is the beast in the village already?
You mean to say that it's among them?
I just wouldn't be so sure to trust these people.
Oh no, trust them as far as you can throw them.
Which
As long
is
as
not
we get-
far. They're quite fat on the peas of this land, if it is only peas.
Oh, it's got potatoes, the worst fruit ever.
From the house, you hear a loud explosion, as if a gun went off.
Oh God. Well, I suppose we'll run through.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Go to the
Who
house.
the hell's
Go ahead and roll initiative. That is D20 plus your dexterity modifier. How initiative works in Pugmire, we don't track numbers. We only know who goes first. After that, whoever goes first can decide who goes next in the order, including the NPCs. At the end of the turn, the last person to go decides who goes getting the next turn, but they can choose themselves if they want to. So if you decide to leave the NPC to last, they can theoretically choose themselves and act again immediately. So,
Well, I got a 6.
you're probably not going
6.
first. Or maybe.
19.
Okay, so you were going first.
9, I got, yeah.
Okay, so you're the first person to the door.
All
Do you
right.
rush in? Do you want to?
I mean, presumably explosion. I think he might have shot himself. So.
Okay.
Yeah, rush in.
Oh, no.
So you open the door. Good news, bad news. Good news, Gus has not shot himself. Bad news, what he has shot appears to be a giant monster that's sitting inside the house. It is about the size of a bear. It has giant wings off of its back. It has curling antlers coming off of its head, and there's huge fangs and antlers. It is a giant rabbit bear with antlers and claws and fangs and wings.
Got it.
And it is,
Eldritch Blast.
yeah, you just good plan. Just gonna shoot the thing.
Shoot the thing.
So Eldritch Blast is your intelligence plus proficiency modifier to attack.
Okay, cool. 17.
Okay. The Eldritch Blast rips from your paw and slams into the creature's hide, and it lets out a huge scream. Go ahead and roll damage.
I've got 8.
Okay. The fur around its chest kind of smolders and burns, and you've clearly done a little bit of hurt to it, but it also just seems very angry now. Who would like to go next? You have your 2 colleagues, you have Gus, and you have the creature.
Starla.
Okay, I want to go in and grab the grandpa and hide with him.
Okay. Gus is not going to be against you getting him away from the creature.
Doesn't seem
But you're
like
gonna
I
have to get
wanna
pretty
hide.
close to the creature to do so. So if you do, it's gonna get an attack of opportunity against you.
Oh no. Okay, well then I'll just I won't touch Gus. I'll just deke into the kitchen and like hide behind the counters and try to like go behind him kind of, but
Okay.
also hidden.
Go ahead and make a dexterity roll. You can add your person. Do you have the sneak skill?
I think I do. Yes.
Okay, then you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll.
Dexterity plus proficiency.
Yeah, so dexterity plus 2.
That's a nat 1.
Oh, okay.
So,
You do have 3 fortune. You want to spend the fortune?
yes.
Oh yeah.
Can I?
Everyone cool with that?
Go for
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
It seems like this is a good time to use it.
12 plus 12. 15?
Okay, let me check. Yeah. So you start to go behind the counter and realize that actually the table is still upright and pretty stable. So actually ducking under the table might be better. And then you can kind of swipe at it as it goes by.
Yeah.
So
I'll wait for my opportunity to do that.
So you now have you can, when you attack, you will be at an advantage because you're hidden.
Yeah.
Okay. So who goes next? You have your 1 colleague left, you have Gus, and you have the creature.
Oh, for me? I'll let actually I'll say like I'll kind of be like, Gus, and and have him come over here.
Okay, and then let Gus go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll to see if Gus snaps out of it. He rolls a natural 1. He does not snap out of it. So he starts pulling on the trigger of his gun again, but you hear click, 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 click.
Oh, no.
He is terrified.
Oh no.
And he's going to choose the monster to go.
Oh no.
And the monster kind of lets out a horrible roar and is going to swipe its paws at stupid thing. It's going to swipe its paws at both Kashik and Eris.
Okay.
Kashik, that is a 9. I'm sure that misses.
Yeah, 13 my defense.
And Eris, that is a 28. Sorry. I think it hits.
Ouch.
Yeah, that definitely hits.
Okay, you will take 5 points of slashing damage.
All right. in danger.
As the claw comes through you and rips through the meat of your chest, You get a strong whiff of the creature's aroma, and as a mancer, you can use your sense to determine unusual creatures or unusual qualities about creatures. And you are pretty convinced that this is a demon, one of the unseen.
Okay.
But it does choose the last person left, which is Kashik.
Okay, can I quickly dip under to try to hide and then kind of put off a shot with my short bow?
Sure, yeah. You can just move and then attack.
Yeah, maybe shoot through the window or something just to.
Yeah, this is kind of a cramped area. I mean, you have basically 3 cats, a rabbit, and a giant creature all in basically a kitchen. So you're going to have to go basically to the door and crouch down to fire to have a sufficient range.
Okay, right.
Because otherwise you're going to be disadvantaged attacking your melee.
So will I make the check to hide first?
Yeah. So go ahead and make a dexterity roll. If you have sneak, you can add your efficiency bonus.
I don't think I do have sneak.
That's fine. Then it's just dexterity.
Yeah, so it's 12.
Okay. You believe you're hidden?
Okay, and then I'll make the roll to just I'll try and get a shot off on his cranium.
Okay.
That's terrible. I got a 3, so there's no way that's gonna go.
Oh, yeah, 3. No.
No.
You do have 2 fortune left.
I might use one more. I don't know if an arrow is going to affect this beast. I don't know if it's worth it. But yeah, I don't know.
If you want to, you can.
Yeah, we may as well. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll try one more.
Okay.
I'll try one more. I got 4 this time. So.
Okay, so arrow just.
Yeah. Hopefully, don't hit Gus.
Right. No, not bad. Gus under a table, or no, Gus sitting in front. That's right. But you do miss everything. Again, it's just a cramped area. Everything's happening so fast. You're trying to duck and fire at the same time. But it is top of the round. You can pick anyone to go, including yourself.
I think I will pick Eris because she is in the most danger.
Okay.
Cool. Squishy one got big hit. Is the disengage action a thing?
Yes.
Cool. Can I disengage and move back?
Yep, absolutely you can.
Excellent. I would hope I'm gonna go through the door, and I've clearly done the most damage to it, so I anticipate it's going to follow me.
Yes, you've adequately put your colleagues in between it and you.
Excellent. Excellent. Don't die.
I think it's pretty much your turn.
Yeah, that's gonna be my turn using my movement and action disengage.
Yeah, so you're now basically through the door.
Yeah.
So you can still see the combat, but
Yeah,
you're actually outside now.
yeah, far and yeah, away.
Who goes next?
Let's go ahead and do. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Starla.
Yay. I'm gonna try to attack its Achilles tendon on its
Okay.
heel.
I'm gonna
See if I
say
can
you're
get it
attacking at a
down.
disadvantage, but if you succeed, you'll not only do your normal damage, but also you will drop its 2 attacks to 1.
So I have advantage?
Disadvantage.
Because I'm hidden? Disadvantage.
Oh, right. Okay. So your advantage is hidden, disadvantage because you're trying to hit a very specific target. So it nets out to a normal roll. I forgot about the hidden. Thank you for reminding me.
Normal. Okay.
It's a normal roll. But again, if you succeed, it'll stop attacking twice. It'll only attack once.
So it's 11 plus
Your dexterity
5?
plus. Yeah.
No,
Yep.
5. 11.
So it's 16, which is just what you needed.
Okay. So damage is.
I'll just delete that extra attack there.
8 damage.
Okay, so Starla kind of jets out, like a paw, like flips out from under the table and slashes through the tendon in the beast's leg, and it crumbles to one knee, and you see blood coming out, but it's not normal blood. It's almost too red in the little bit of light you have, and it's also viscous. It's not pouring out of the wound so much as oozing out.
Okay. Do I have some movement to get out of the way?
Yes.
So I'll get out of the way and kind of obscure myself again.
Okay. Go ahead and make
Okay.
another dexterity roll using sneak. So it's +5 again, I think.
That's 11.
Is that plus your bonuses?
6 plus.
Oh yes, yeah, it's 6 plus. Okay, yeah.
7, 8.
So there, after your attack, the creature falls to its knee. It's kind of concealed at a table, and you don't really have very many other places to hide. So you kind of scramble back to find a place to hide, and it's kind of cramped quarters. You can't really find much of anything. So next turn, you could try to leave the house and find a place to find. Then you're stuck to ranged weapons, or just going to attack as normal next round.
I'll just say, Gus, go get help.
Okay, you have Gus go again.
Yeah.
See if Gus breaks out of it this time. Natural 20. Apparently, those are the only two options Gus has.
Yay.
So Gus kind of shakes his head.
We could use some backup.
And he tosses you his gun and one of the belts around his chest and goes, yeah, I'll be back. And then starts running out. As he runs out, you do see that, again, one of those things like in the middle of combat, you zero in on strange details. Your mind kind of just focuses. But he's definitely running very stiff-legged. So I mean, he's still running, but I mean, he's not. His legs don't have the same movements or range of motion you would expect normally. So he starts running away. He is now out of combat. He is going to choose the creature to go. The creature is very angry.
That Gus.
Well, because Gus does not want the creature to attack twice.
That's fair.
But because you shouted to Gus and took its food away from it, the creature is now going to try to bite you.
Oh no.
18. Does 18 hit?
Yeah.
So it's going to do 4 points of piercing damage. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, difficulty 16.
Oh no.
Yikes.
As this maw clamps into your flesh, and you feel something burning into under your skin.
I only got an 8.
The pain starts to overload your mind, and you start to literally see red. Everything is now in a shade of red. You now have the condition cursed, which means that you are disadvantaged to all attack rolls and ability rolls until the curse is lifted.
Oh shit.
But it is Kaushik's turn.
On seeing this, how far do I have between me and him?
You're at you're still in the house, so you're at close range, but not melee range. So you still have a little bit of. You can still use your ranged weapon without penalty.
Could I get in and grab the gun and the belt and get out again and maybe even reload?
If you do that, it has a chance to attack you for attack of opportunity.
Did it have? Oh yeah, of course. Okay, well, I think it should be all right for next turn. I might run in and just try to hide Like, can I kind of shuffle away to the side and then try and stab it in the throat or something like that?
Sure, yeah. Do you want to still
Yeah.
grab the stuff on the way around, or?
No, I don't think I would have time to.
Okay.
I want to make myself, because I can see she's in danger. So
Okay.
I kind of need to make myself somewhat of a target, I suppose, but
Okay.
while hiding as well. Okay, so I'll make
Fucking thing off of me.
I'll make the dexterity check first. 18, so
That's fine.
that's fine.
You just kind of scoot around.
And then I will roll to attack. I got a 7.
You
I
have
might
one more
re-roll that.
fortune left.
Yeah, if that's okay with everyone else, I might try, because
Sure.
I can add some stuff to this roll.
Okay.
That's worth doing. Come
Are
on,
we
come
out
on,
of
come on.
lucky rolls now?
Yes, you're
Is-
out of rerolls.
Is this? Yeah. Okay.
But-
Apologies if this kills us.
Better make this one works.
Yeah, I'm rolling it for a long time. Oh, it was 8.
No, no.
So 9, 10, so 12.
Yeah, it's not enough, unfortunately.
Damn.
So you make your way around, and you slash in what you think is a sensitive spot, but actually underneath the skin, it's almost like there's kind of a weird, like, chitinous bit underneath, and it's kind of just skitters off, or maybe it's flexible bone. It's something strange, but kind of your point of your knife skitters off the flesh.
Hmm.
That's not normal. Who goes next?
I think that let's see. Gus has ran off,
Yes.
right?
Mhm. Hopefully into a safer place.
Starla.
Okay. There's a gun at your foot.
Okay. Like, you fucking little bastard. I'll grab the gun and like aim it like under its throat here
Okay.
and pull the trigger.
So normally you're disadvantaged because you're cursed. You're advantaged because you're putting it right under its chin. So let's just call it a normal roll. Normal dexterity roll.
Yay. 2 plus what the fuck do I have?
That's you have to have a lot to make that 2 work.
5.
So you put the gun under its chin. You pull the trigger and you hear a click.
I'll just kind of scream like, ah!
Who goes next?
The necromancer guy.
Yeah, you have Eris, you have Starla, and you have the creature. So Eris.
All right. Well, terrifying. I'm going to Eldritch Blast again, because that was super effective.
Worked last time.
Yeah. Let's see what that happens.
50% of the time, it works 100% of the time.
Exactly. Got a 19.
And there you go. There's your 50%. Go ahead and roll
Eldritch
damage.
Yep. Okay. It's another 7.
Okay.
Eldritch Blast.
So you Eldritch Blast again leaves your paw. This time it's almost like the energy hits within its chest, and there's a pulse of fire that comes out of its mouth as it starts to scream horribly. So we've got a few minutes left. So we're going to kind of narrate through the rest of this. Is basically Eris continues to, realizing magic is very effective, kind of from distance continues to pelt with Eldritch Blast. Kashik manages to wiggle around to find a good spot to start putting the dagger in. And Starla actually checks takes a second to check the gun, realizes that there's a switch on the side, pushes a switch, pulls the gun out, and actually pulls the trigger. And between the 3 of you, you manage to actually get this creature worn down after a long battle. And the creature slumps to the ground, and you hear a sickening cracking sound as the body actually starts to fold in on itself and gets smaller. And after a moment, you look down and you see actually it is the body of Beatrice, Rusty's mother.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh,
And afterwards, you get the rabbits and hares together. They start to piece together that Beatrice has always been extremely protective of the children of the village. And but she's always, once every full moon, she always kind of went off by herself, tended to the farm animals, whatever. And they're guessing that one night she was probably trying to keep herself locked up, and then one night she somehow got loose. And then when she accidentally killed one of the children, probably something in her snapped. So she started going after the rest of the family, blaming them for her own attack. But you've stopped the Wolpertinger, even though it's for kind of at a horrible cost. And the rest of the rabbits and hares of Azure Sky help you to find your way out with the kittens, and you bring the kittens back to the monarchies of Mao for potentially future political shenanigans.
yes.
That
That is
is
what children are used for.
that's, well, certainly the monarchies. Children don't have their own lives; they're pawns in political games. That's how it works.
Exactly, especially in monarchies. They don't get to do what they want.
Awesome. But thank you all for playing. I really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for watching. Where can folks find you online? We'll start with Jamie.
I actually made all my things just for this particular game, so hopefully I'll have more in the future, and you'll be able to find me at the JGFS.
Awesome.
But thank you for the opportunity, Eddie.
No
That was
problem. Haley?
Hi guys, I'm Haley, also known as Beyblade666 on the internet. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram, where I do like cool cosplays and I promote my other streams that I do.
Your cosplay is very cool, by the way.
Thank you.
Will?
Like I said at the beginning, I don't exist. That includes to online. However, there is somebody who insists I exist. _the Rolling Nomads on Twitter and the Rolling Nomads Twitch channel. They insist I exist and pull me in from the ether every single time they want to do a stream.
There you go. I'm Eddy Webb. You can find me online at Pugsteady. That's Pugstady. You can find my website at pugsteady.com. You can also find me lurking around the Onyx Path Discord, usually posting Transformers memes. That's kind of what I do these days. If you guys are interested, this material will be in the upcoming Squeaks of the Dark Companion. Squeaks in the Deep Companion, Squeaks in the Deep. The core book is out now, available on Drive-Thru RPG and PDF. And if you like the core game, you can always buy Monarchies of Mao. It is a complete game in and of itself, and it uses a D&D 5e engine. So on that, thank you guys for playing. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the con.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. See you later.
Jim's like, how did I know it was the mom? Oh, and thank you, Jim, for running tech.
Yes, thank you, Jim, so much.
I thought it was Gus. I thought it was going to be Gus with the gun, and then I thought, nah.
I thought it was Gus too. I'm like,
Yeah.
Gus.
I honestly.
Mm,
Mhm.
That was a
But
twist.
it's always the character that you what's the one character that you couldn't possibly be? It's always that character.
Totally.
Yeah,
Awesome.
or the one that doesn't, that the most avid denier of its
Right.
existence